Chapter 27, Part 2. He walked over to the camper and prepared to take a shower himself. He turned on the water heater and heard the welcome whoosh of it igniting. It would take 20 minutes or so for the water to warm up. He wondered how much gas was left in the camper's tanks. He went outside to check, but he saw Gunny and Abby holding hands and walking up. He went over to talk to the old Marine about how the training went. Gunny told him it had gone well. He had covered all of the SOP's standard operating procedures for standing watch at a gate. He then walked the men through several scenarios and had them role play. He said he let them come up with one of their own scenarios and work out the best solutions. Gunny said that Scott was the best student in the class and that he wanted to talk to the security committee about changing the guard schedule and appointing some captains. He felt they were going to need more than 2 men on duty if things got worse in town. He'd heard about the refugees that had passed today and told Mark that they would be only the first of many, and they wouldn't all be as polite as the ones today were. Mark said they needed to meet anyway to discuss the next phase of their security arrangements. He asked Gunny what he had planned for the men tomorrow, and he was told that Jim was going to work with the men on their shooting skills in the morning. He thought he might give them the afternoon off since he needed to see what other arrangements they planned to make in order to tailor his program properly. Mark excused himself to take his shower, and Gunny headed up to the house to talk to Jim about what he wanted him to do tomorrow. Mark was glad they had Gunny. Without him, they wouldn't have had any idea of what to do for security. Thank God for George, too. And where would they be without Chaparro? Mark was thankful for so many people. Even Todd and Mr. Davis. Without them, he wouldn't have had the means to buy some of the things they'd so desperately needed. When he got out of the shower, he dressed and headed into the house. Jess came up and kissed him, now that he was clean. Well, what a picky lady. Maybe he thought this was a hint that they should spend the night inside the house again. She then chased David out to take a shower before dinner. The teenager argued for a brief moment that he didn't need one, but when his mother put her hands on her hips and cocked her head to one side as she gave him the look, he dropped his head and headed for the camper. Dinner was the last of the deer meat from the freezer. The news came on and reported that 3 people in town had been arrested for watering their lawns. The radio said they faced a $5,000 fine and 60 days in jail. Great, Mark thought. There were murderers, rapists, and thieves running loose all over town, and the police were arresting water wasters. A thought flashed through his mind that the report might not be true. It could just be a scare tactic to stop people from wasting water. Either way, it probably would get people's attention. Several more cities were named off as now being under martial law. The list was getting so long, Mark didn't really even pay attention to the names of the cities anymore. The water board announced that they needed to do more maintenance, so the 7-to-7 no water rule was in effect again tonight. When the president came on, the only real news that he had was that he was cutting back on his daily broadcast. Now, unless there was something urgent, he would only have his little chats with the country on Tuesdays and Saturdays. He signed off without even mentioning the power. 5 minutes later, people started showing up for the meeting. Mark started the meeting by asking the gardening committee to give a report. The 5-member committee moved to the front and asked George to speak. We finished planting corn in the part of the back lot that's ready. We could use more volunteers for tomorrow. We also finished tilling the first 3 private plots today and have about half of another one done. We'll pick up again tomorrow. We really need more help with the tilling, especially in the afternoon when it gets hot. I don't like for the guys to work more than 20 minutes at a time when it's really hot. If you can help, even for just a 20-minute shift, it would be appreciated. We also need to buy the seeds for the private gardens. If you're not sure what you need to plant, please come see one of the committee members after the meeting, and we'll help you plan what you need. We want to make a run to the feed store tomorrow and pick up all the seeds everyone needs, so please get your order in with us tonight. A hand went up and George pointed at the woman. What if we don't have enough money to buy the seeds we need? Go ahead and order what you need. We're asking everyone who can to pitch in a little extra to help those who don't have the cash. If we don't have enough money, then we'll get as much as we can, George explained. So if you can't buy everything, are you going to take some of my seeds that I paid for and give them to someone else? A man in the back asked. No, if you pay for seed, you'll get it. But remember, we're all in this together, Mark interjected. It behooves us all to make sure that everyone here has enough food. So if you can spare anything, please help out your neighbors. Any other questions? George asked.